Woke up this morning to see a whole pile of rumours on Facebook about the upcoming GoPro Hero 4 action cam coming out. Talking about some of its specs, its size, its shape, its functions and all that kind of stuff. So here's my thoughts on the rumours. So the rumours are roughly becoming the same. I was looking at Gizmodo and Petapixel are roughly saying the same. The headline feature is 4K video at 30 frames a second. Don't care. So don't care. Never used 4K so far. If you saw in one of my previous videos, I tried to upload a 2.7K video onto YouTube. You may notice it's not on YouTube. That's because after uploading it for 14 hours, I came back, turned on the computer, checked its progress, and it was saying it was taking another 2,600 minutes to upload. So 2.7K high quality video was coming out, for a 7-minute video, was coming out at 19 gigabytes. So that's not gonna, if you're on anything other than ultra fast internet connection, it's just not gonna happen. So the thought thing, that was 2.7K, going up to 4K, just weeks to upload a minute video. If you're doing it in high quality, obviously you can compress it down to a tiny fraction of its original size, but then what's the point? Yeah, but I don't quite get that. So anyway, so yeah, it's got 4K video at 30 frames a second. What that could be good for is if in the editing, you've got the ability to move around within the actual frame if you want to like zoom in and capture stuff like that. So that's where it could be handy. But what you do have to think is, whatever you're editing with, you need one powerful computer to do that seamlessly or in a smooth function, instead of going click one frame, click another frame, click another frame. Because a 4K frame is, I think it's a 15 megapixel image. Roughly, around about that range. So 30, 15 megapixel images every second. It's got to be a tough one for any computer to edit through. Obviously what you can do in a lot of video editing software is you can do proxies, where you can just get like a tiny versions of a file, so editing's a lot quicker, but it's still, the exporting will take forever if you're doing it at 4K, and uploading will be horrendous. But it does have its purposes. But I don't think very many people will be using it. It will also use a lot more energy, like because the processor needs to work a lot more, and it will heat up the GoPro a lot more, and your memory cards will be like finished within. I reckon 4K 30 frames a second on a 16 gigabyte memory card, you're probably talking about no more than 12 minutes of footage. I don't know. That's don't quote me on that one. Okay, but what is good is looking at the form is exactly the same. So that's going to be handy because there's so many peripherals which require the GoPro to stay the same shape. Not necessarily the same size, but the same shape. Well, actually, no, it doesn't need to be the same size. But in terms of depth, it can be a little bit narrower if it wants. But in terms of its actual, the plane view of it, it needs to be the same shape. So anyway, other things. The other one which I was a bit worried about is, oh, wait a minute, it's got an LCD backpack already on. Fortunately, it looks like that's just going to be the silver edition. I'm not a huge fan of this. One, it's not something that you use very often. Two, from this image, it looks like, oh, where's the connector for the back if you're wanting to put on an extra battery pack, or if you're wanting to attach it to the DJI Phantom, no, not the Phantom, but the ZenMouse H3 3D gimbal on the DJI Phantom, missing all the connections there, so that would be a bit of an issue. And also even for the Sena headset audio capture devices, again, just wouldn't be too good if they screwed around with that. But in terms of form and shape, looks pretty good, nice and bright. Yeah, so the LCD would use up more power. It's not something you use very much. They're saying it's going to be a touch screen. Well, that's not very much use if it's inside a casing the whole time. So the touchscreen would only work if you have to take it out of the case and swipe it along. What's far better is doing it on the iPod. The LCD screen I found was quite useful when I had the GoPro Hero 2, because that one it didn't have any Wi-Fi functions whatsoever. The Wi-Fi function, which is a new one, means I can stream the video to my iPod straight away, and that's fantastic. and I can get it at, like directional, like instant streaming, or I can have it upload the video to my iPod just after I've shot it as well. So with that, you don't need a backpack, or you don't need an LCD backpack. So that is just something that looks like it would drain the battery, heat it up too much, cause steaming, and wouldn't be functional if you're having to use it as a touchscreen. So pointless. Let's see. Okay, saying the resolution is 4K 30 frames a second. I'm glad they're putting that because that will just shut people up. There's so many non-video people that are going, oh, I want 4K at 30 frames a second. Why can't they do that? It's like, have you ever used it? Do you actually use it? What do you use it for? Oh, I do like product tests of nothing. The amount of people saying, oh yeah, I need 4K. No, you don't. Even cinema doesn't need 4K at the moment. Anyway, I'm not going to rant about that. 2.7K at 50 frames a second, that's quite good. I would probably like to use that because I could edit that and then export at 1080 video. At 1440p at 80 frames a second. 1440 is not a frame which I've ever used. What I would use is, I would use that if I was skiing, snowboarding, and I had no idea about the height of the frame that I was doing. But in general, that's a frame, that's a resolution shape which I've just never bothered using. It's not something that's interested me. 1080 at 120 frames a second, brilliant. So you can slow that down to, what's that, 34% at speed, I think, all the way down to that to get 24 frames a second. So that would be amazing. 960p again, that's a frame shape which I don't ever use. 720 at 120 frames a second. So it's like, oh, hold on, I thought they might have bumped that up because that's what it can currently do. So it's a bit like, I thought they might have bumped that. And it appears that these cameras no longer support 240 frames a second. But dumps. That's like proper super slow-mo, like super duper slow-mo, 10 times slow-mo, as in you can bring it from 100% speed down to 10% speed and still have it in a 24p timeline. That's gone. It's like, that's a bummer. Again, it's not something I've ever really used apart from whenever I was doing the product testing where I was doing the juggling at the start. I'll put a link to that down below. But it's like, that's a shame. I wish that was still there because there's potential opportunities for some cool stuff being done on that. It's also saying 12 megapixels of photos at 30 frames a second, so that's all cool. And what was the other ones? There's a whole bunch of different sites, but yeah, LCD not doing it too much for me. What I'm not seeing anywhere in here. There's one which I haven't read. Bluetooth exposure settings for nighttime shooting, a highlight tag feature for marking key moments in footage, a quick capture feature for okay, that's faff. What I find really good is that the GoPro can capture raw video, however it doesn't capture raw photos. It also does have the amazing ability to be able to capture 1080p at 30 frames a second, not raw, but just like normal compressed video footage. And simultaneously capture 7 megapixel photos, JPEGs obviously, and the fastest speed is every 5 seconds. You can set it to every 5 seconds, every 10, every 30, every minute. And that's been super handy for me whenever I'm doing certain things, flying around. I can fly, capture video footage, but I can also capture photos at the same time, which has been super handy. Instead of having to fly, video, land, let's do photos, photo. I can do it simultaneously at the same time. There's no like, if you were to do a photo with shoot this at 1080p, and then you can take a photo at the same time, the actual video stops for a second and then carries on. It's still one video file, but it just screws it up in the editing, so it doesn't really work that well. But the GoPro does that. So what I'm like, oh, please guys, please have the ability to capture 1080p faster than 30 frames a second. So I can do it 50, 60 frames a second, so I can have the ability to slow it down in post. And if I can capture raw photos, that would be nice. I don't really care if it's more than 7 megapixels, even if it's less than that, that's absolutely fine. But just be able to capture raw photos so I can work with the white balance and all that kind of stuff afterwards. That'd be like, oh, do that. That would be good. But I haven't seen any chat about that on there at all. So or even if you could capture raw video and raw photos simultaneously, and if the video could be faster than 30 frames a second, oh, instant buy, instant 100% buying it straight away. Don't care the price, I'm buying it. Because it'd be very, very helpful for a lot of work, which I do. But what is the feature that you're looking for? And if you're going to say 4K 30 frames a second, oh, why is it 4K at 60 frames a second? Tell me why and when you've ever used it and when you would have used it and what kind of software you're using to edit and upload that kind of stuff. But everyone else, what kind of features are you looking for? And what do you think is good? Or are you thinking, huh? Well, the other thing I was thinking, it's like, wait a minute, GoPro also went, what do you call it? Where they become a stock market company. They went online. No, that's not it. They went something. Where what do you call it? You can buy shares in GoPro. Can't remember the phrase. But they put it on to this. They put it on the market. Can't remember. And potentially that means millions and millions and millions of pounds of investment pumped into GoPro, or the company that owns GoPro. And you just think, right, they must have humongous finances to buy the bestest sensors, the bestest lenses, the bestest housing, all that kind of stuff, and be able to absolutely hump the price compared to a lot of its competitors. So what I'm surprised about is that this is only a couple of features a little bit better. With it going on the market, that's not it. I thought that they would maybe bring something which would really blow everyone away, and I think this will. But for a company that went on the stock market and got billions of pounds worth of investment, maybe a couple more functions, maybe a couple more cameras, maybe a couple more different things going on. Maybe, I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. Cheers. Bye bye.